Hi, Simulator Universe Golden Gears, GNG for short, is our newest endgame content added to the game in version 1.6. Like Storm Disaster, it is also an expansion to Simulator Universe. GNG's gameplay and mechanics are very similar to Storm Disaster. The core gameplay is basically the same, however there is one major difference. Storm Disaster has a different preset dice for each path, while GNG allows you to customize your dice for every path. This small little change really changes a lot and makes this experience just different enough for everyone to enjoy. However, you might say, well, dice were made for each path so it can be balanced. Otherwise, you make a good dice and every path is basically the best. Well, yes, but actually no. You see, Hoyu saw this coming and decided to make a conundrum mode, which makes it so you can make the hardest difficulty, Torturous, even harder. But to be honest, if you unlock everything in the neural network and have fully built characters, every path is still kind of good. However, for those that do not have everything unlocked or don't have perfectly built characters, here are top 3 best paths for Simulator Universe Golden Gears to help you clear Conundrum mode up to level 12 to get your free Jades. Before we start, I'll be giving away a supply pass / welcome moon / crystal card to my subscribers at 2k subs, so make sure you subscribe to enter. Number 3. Destruction. Okay, initially this bot was meant to be for abundance, however that was my thought before the game mode release and it was based on Storm Disaster. The reason why abundance was good in Storm Disaster because it had one of the best dice, so what ends up happening is that you're able just to stack up a lot of blessings and then just let the blessings carry you, despite the actual path not doing too much, as well as you basically get one shot since it doesn't add resistances. But focusing on the new game mode GNG, abundance faces a big issue. It doesn't have path-specific dice, so that's one part of its specialty gone, and then with Conundrum mode, the enemies are just straight up one-shotting you, beyond what Storm ever did. It is so insane to the point that the healing bonus does not do anything anymore, you straight up need damage reduction. Which is what Destruction has. Destruction in SU, as you guys know, is focused on making sure you're comfortable low HP by defense and damage reduction, and you do more damage when you're low HP as well. However, the catch is that the dice bonus is straight up damage percentage. So bring along a decent healer or even a Fushan or Japard if you really want to play it safe, and then see your units absolutely tank everything while dishing out fairly high damage. Now of course, the damage is still nothing in comparison to actual offensive paths like Han, Elation and whatnot. But it gets the job done, especially since the new Argentine or the dual robot boss does not have a time limit. Trusting gets a little bit angry when you stall for too long. Now I do want to mention as a disclaimer, try to avoid letting the enemy extrapolation to be abundance, as he may not do enough damage to outdamage the heals. Number 2. Nihility. See, I was not quite sold on Nihility in Storm Disaster because the dice was a bit janky with the blanks and whatnot. However, that's gone. Now we have our own dice to play with, and that means this path is just so broken. You would think that a path focused on DOT is just gonna be bad since you need the enemy to have a turn for your max damage. But what people tend to forget is that Nihility is a path based on debuffing in general, not just DOT. So there's 2 blessings that absolutely makes this path an absolute monster for this game mode. It is this one and this one. These 2 together, or even separately, makes this path feel so much tanky than it should. The HP restore does the job of a healer, and attack decrease basically makes the enemy hurt like normal monsters instead of straight up one-shotting you. So paired up with a defensive unit or 2 even, you will have a pretty good time. And I haven't even gotten into the offensive part of this path yet. I can just let the background and the numbers speak for themselves. To people that say that you need Kafka for Nihility path to work, well, it is true that Kafka makes Nihility 10 times better. They didn't release Gwen and soon Black Swan, so you can just ignore them. While they won't be good as Kafka in the Nihility path run, the path itself is basically sufficient, so all you need is just someone there to help it out a little bit. So that said, even Sample could work. So go and give it a try even without Kafka. The path is so broken that I just run this team that doesn't even have much damage, as the path just does all the damage. My team is just here to survive. Do note, for the higher Conundrum levels, you may need to run solo defensive options, as even with the path attack decrease and heal, they may still kill you. Before we get to number 1, I do want to state Preservation as the honorable mention. This should have been number 3, but only Japard is able to fully use this path. If you do have him, you can literally auto battle the whole thing. That's a bit of an exaggeration as you need your blessings first, but it really is a tanky path. As I have mentioned, the Argentine boss and the dual robot boss do not have a timer on them anymore, so you can take as long as you want. Preservation will allow you to do that. I mean, with shields this big, who's gonna stop you? Fushan, unfortunately, despite being a preservation unit, does not work too well with preservation path. Actually, in fact, she benefits more of destruction to further her damage mitigation. And Fire MC has a jerk of a shield, in SU at least. But to be honest, March with a decent build could maybe punch out a big enough shield and hope to god that her taunt thing works. But that I have not tested. Actually, maybe solo march could work. Anyways, while on the topic of march, at last but not least, number 1, Remembrance. To absolutely no one's surprise, actually maybe some people's surprise, ever since people realized that all of the final bosses were weak to ice, to sell Ron May if she needed it, Remembrance became basically the golden option. And guess what? If some disaster cheesing with Remembrance wasn't enough, here's Remembrance cheesing version 2. It's pretty obvious from the start that Remembrance was gonna be good. It was the best option in Swarm by miles, and it really is no different in GNG. To put it simply in a phrase, if what makes you unkillable also kill the enemy is a good way to describe Remembrance. The path just does too much damage. Like, I know they're not gonna nerf a path in SU, but it is getting to the point that it is out damaging the damage paths. The path by itself has basically one weakness that keeps it quote unquote balanced, and is that you need to freeze the enemy. The path helps you a good amount in that, but you still need to put in work in your side to make sure the enemies are frozen for the path to actually damage the enemy. But the enemies are weak to ice this time, and we get a free character named March 8th, who coincidentally has a 65% base chance to freeze all enemies, her bonus ability and her ultimate. In conjunction with the effect hit rate body and the dice bonus, you essentially have a guaranteed way to freeze the enemy. Look, I don't know what they were cooking at Hoyo HQ during the release of this game, but freezing enemies so it cannot kill you ever is already a pretty strong thing, and then you just do how much damage to it? Yeah, honestly, if you're just lazy and want to get those few J's for going up to Conundrum level 6 and dip, just run March and Remembrance. As a side note, building her for this cheese kind of run is not really essential, but it will make her more comfortable, so I did recommend that. So yeah, I mean, the list is it's quite similar to the one I did before on Some Disaster. If you have not seen that video, go take a look if you're interested. For Golden Gears, well, normal torturous difficulty is about the same, or maybe even easier than Some Disaster. With Conundrum, it really becomes much harder. I've been quite enjoying the game mode, and the custom dice thing does reduce the luck factor a little bit, which I really like. If you realized, yes, I did basically throw all of the offensive paths into the dirt. I just think the enemies are way too strong and you're not gonna survive using those paths. Now, I did test them, and while I did get good results, it was so much harder and needed much more attention and retries than the other paths. Now, of course, I don't have E6S5 characters, so I can't really test the extent of the offensive paths and how good they are in this content. Like, can you truly just one-shot all the enemies when using E6S5 characters with the offensive paths? But then, there's really no point to make this video at all. So this top 3 is based on from Conundrum level 2 and onwards for free-to-play or low spenders. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to subscribe as you also join a giveaway. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!